So, welcome to
Yep.
the April 18th. Look, everyone's after my snack, my apple and peanut butter. The dog, my husband. Jeez. Anyway.
I have to go around the computer.
April 18th call. Trying to focus here. And we just wanted to really talk about some easy ways of getting your business continuing to grow. You know, a lot of people feel like they burn through their network pretty quickly. So Jess is going to kind of go over how she's been in this business for quite a few years now, and she feels like her network is not used up yet. And I would beg to differ, to argue with anybody who feels as if they've already reached out to everybody they know. So a couple things that I wanted to go over, and then Jess, we'll have you hop in, is first off, right off the bat, one of the easiest ways to help your business grow is all of these events we have. And we happen to have quite a few coming up this weekend with Mitra coming into town and everything. So it does you no good. Well, it'll do you good to come to the events, but bring people with you. So I am challenging everybody to bring and invite until the day of the event. Bring people to these events, especially Mitra's in town. This doesn't happen often. Jess, how many times has Mitra been in town your whole duration in this business?
Oh gosh. I have pregnancy brain too. I'm just kidding. I have having two kids brain. I'd say maybe 3 times, 3 or 4, something like that in 9 years. So every 2 to 3 years, I'd say.
Yeah. So utilize it.
Right.
We have her at our fingertips this weekend. Get your team to the team events, get your customers, get your friends, get your family to the training events. And that's one of the easiest ways to build your business, because these events are already happening. The other thing is to get your team on this call. Jess and I are doing these calls not for our own good, not because we like to hear ourselves talk. And you guys, most of you show up week after week after week. But the whole goal now that you guys are at a level where you need to start team building, every single person on this call is a VF, correct? Or higher?
Right.
Okay. So at the VF level, this is where you need to start building your team. How do you do that? Invite people to these calls, because Jess and I are doing the work for you. So invite to not only these calls, but to all of the events that we have going on this weekend. And I challenge everybody to bring 5 people. So start making your list, start inviting, confirm people. One of the verbiages I used today was, all of the events this weekend are completely sold out, but I happen to have 3 tickets. So I need to know if I need to add you to my list of people to let you in the door. So not all of the events are sold out. And yes, we have more than 3 tickets to most of these events, but that creates some urgency, right? I only have 3 tickets. Get back to me. Let me know if you can come. Okay. One of the other things I wanted to mention is, since Jess is going to go over kind of increasing our market and making sure that people have a continuing growing business, is as you grow in this business, I don't know if you guys are all aware, but as you stair step up in this business, there are more ways to earn money. So when you enter the business, we earn what's called retail sales profit. Okay, and then as we progress, we start to earn what's called commission, 2 different ways of earning money. Then as we qualify our business, that's a 3rd way of earning money. And then as we promote to SC, that's a 4th way of earning money, right? Whereas you work up the ladder to QNMD and NMD, there are over 7 ways to earn money. So if you guys are going to invest in this business, do you guys want to be earning money 1 way or 7? Any preference?
7.
Anybody else want 7?
7.
7 ways of earning money, right?
Lucky
Does anybody?
number 7.
Awesome. So does anybody want a full-time benefits package, holiday bonuses, commission, retail sales profit, override on your team? Anybody want all of those? Yeah, good. Cool. I'm liking the hands. You guys are kind of creepy, not gonna lie. It's like miming.
It's a guy thing.
It's a guy thing.
I can't see Shannon.
Yeah.
She's hiding.
I can't figure out how to undo it.
That's because she's got a screw loose. She really does have a screw loose.
In her computer?
No, in her foot.
Oh,
Or her brain. I don't know. We're calling her loose screw at workout
That's
tonight.
right.
So that's funny. Okay, but 7 ways. So that is one of the incentives of promoting up in this business for sure. So with that being said, that's kind of the points I wanted to hit on. We need to promote and build our business, which Jess is going to go over, and continue to build and invite in order to get to the 7 instead of 1 way of earning money. So Jess, have a way, my friend.
Have at it. So
Otherwise, my apples and peanut butter are going to be
they're
gone.
almost gone.
Between the dog.
Maybe you have to cut her up another one.
Look, gee, you want some peanut butter? Huh? Garbanzo.
So you guys, just to piggyback what Lindsay said about this weekend, you know, when we have someone like Mitra, who is, you know, the leader and the head honcho of our organization that we're a part of, it's a big deal. So we should be spending a lot of hours last week and this week inviting people personally and getting people excited. You know, when we found out that Mitra was going to be here, you know, probably 2 months ago, I just penciled off the whole weekend. And we have her speaking in Boulder Thursday night, her speaking at Denver West on Friday night, both the same talk. Get people there. And that sense of urgency, that's a GoPro skill. Also, you know, creating that intrigue and curiosity and setting up Mitra to be the expert and that people want to be there. Of course, I think it's been really easy to invite for these talks because this is what like so many people are talking about, and it's in the news, and it's what we're reading about is gut health and the good and bad bacteria and all of that. So people don't need to know anything about Juice Plus. Just come get educated. This is what our community does is educate. And if you've got, you know, so I want to go into how we're talking about the business as it relates to how we talk about the product too. But when we're inviting to this, not only I use her talks on Thursday and Friday night for my customers mostly, get my reps there and my customers there, and of course maybe a couple hot prospects right now. But who are you thinking about that you want on your team? So whether you have a small customer base right now, or you know those people that you want to work with, that you would love to work with, we've got, you know, the Friday night social event at my place, which is food and drinks at 6:30. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees Saturday, so it should be good. Everyone's invited for that, and then we're going to go see this 80s band play at 9 o'clock. And then we've got the business training on Wednesday from 1 to 4, the T30 training. So a lot of opportunities, you guys, and I just really encourage you not to miss any opportunities there. When we have events, there are opportunities to talk to people. So that's what I want to talk to you next is how we're sharing. You guys all, and you guys can give me the thumbs up or like, you know, so whatever. You guys all feel fairly confident in talking about Juice Plus, the product? Does everyone feel pretty secure in that?
I do.
So how are you guys feeling when I speak from experience that it took me a while to get comfortable talking about the business the way I talk about the product. Being a health nut and a fitness junkie, I immediately got the health part of it. But the business part, oh my gosh, it's so important and it's so fun. And of course it's how we develop our business. So how are our conversations around the business? What do you guys feel like your greatest challenges are? And you guys can just unmute and mute yourself back after you ask the question, or share with us. But how do you feel like your conversations are with questions? Are you asking questions around the business? If anyone wants to share maybe a challenge or share something that's working well, something successful around the business in conversation. Anyone want to share with us? Don't be shy.
Can you hear me, Jess?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, usually what I do is I just share with other people good things that have happened to me in the business, like, being able to go to conference and getting bonuses and making more money, and really not doing that much work for the money that I make. And that interests people, I think.
Yeah, part-time effort for, more of a full-time in the making compensation, right?
Right. And just the whole residual income thing, because people aren't used to that. That's not how most of the world works.
Yeah. So do you find yourself using certain questions around that?
I'm not big on the questions. I just kind of put out there who I am and what's happening to me. And then if they show interest, I pursue that.
So you're doing the share your story. You share your passion and your story, right?
And,
Which is awesome. We've talked a little bit about that on the calls of, creating your stories. Everyone on this call, whether you've been in this business for, days, months, or years, we have to be solid in our story. So what, and write this down. If you haven't written it out yet, there's just huge benefits to writing out your story of what was your life like before Juice Plus? And maybe what were some limitations that you had around the product or the company or the industry, and how are things different now? And if you don't have necessarily a success story yet, then either borrow someone else's or share with people what your dreams and goals are. People like to hear what your goals and dreams are, because we're so go and in kind of survival mode that it's refreshing, and that in itself can entice people in when you're sharing your goals and your dreams of what you want to do with this. And then it's that simple, question asking of, if I could show you, in conversation, when you're in conversation with people, if I could show you how that could be different, how, you don't have to have your kids in after school care, that you could be home. Would you want to have that conversation? Or, whatever it is, if I could show you how you could make a residual income and work part-time hours with full-time and create a full-time income with full benefits, would you be open to that conversation? So these are powerful questions. So I would love to see if anyone has any current hangups, like right now, about whether they just had an experience with someone or something that's keeping them from sharing the business, whether it's asking questions or sharing their story. Does anyone want to share any challenge or hang up recently around the business?
I have no problem being the go-to not to do person.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh, no problem. Anything for you, Jess. Can I do two-part? Can I do a two-parter?
Sure.
Your last question was, what do you see that people do that you like, or that that's positive towards the business? And I don't think she's on the phone right now or on here right now. It comes from this is actually something that Kaylee does, and it's her every day. She pretty much posts a picture like, "Oh, I'm working from here today. Oh, I'm working from here today," and it's always different. And I think that really does do well to showcase the freedom that we have in our job, that we don't have to be at a certain place at a certain time with certain people. I really like that, and that's something I'm going to start doing as well. But anyway, sorry.
I think that's I'm going to just stop and camp there for a second. I think that's huge. When, in the mission-driven model system, the examples now for new people, the training for social media is create curiosity. That's what we're supposed to do. So in our business, we want to show us having fun. We want to show the flexibility that I was working. I don't know if you guys saw my post that I was sitting out on my beach on a beautiful day. And I mean, that's my office, like that's what we want to, and do it in a classy way. That's not like, bragging, but like, this is awesome, and create that curiosity. So that's exactly right. So thanks for sharing with
That's
that.
actually the exact thing that Mitra is having me train on Sunday at the T30 training, is creating that intrigue. Instead of just, vomiting Juice Plus on people, make people want to ask you questions. Jess, how is it that you're able to have that as your office? That's amazing, right? So spot on, Rick.
Oh, no problem. And now Kaylee just joined, so she got to miss the whole thing. But and I was talking to her about that today as well. Just, I think it's brilliant. I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. But anyway, back to what you actually wanted, Jess. I guess with me, it's not necessarily a hang up. It's just, I don't feel as comfortable or as knowledgeable as the business as I say I do for the product.
Okay.
Like the product instantly just connected with me. I understood it. I got it.
And I think that's pretty natural for most people. So when you say knowledgeable, do you feel like you're lacking knowledge in our business structure or our company, or what is it that you're lacking in knowledge? You're saying not as knowledgeable.
See, all the above.
All of the above.
All the above. Because I hear it, because people go over it all over and over again with me, but it just, I don't know, there's just something about it that's not clicking. I'm slow.
Like if somebody says, how do you make money doing this? Or how does your business, what's your marketing plan? How's your business run? I mean, because these are things that you can, take time to study on YouTube, watching videos on the marketing plan and just how to show people how to make money, like Lindsay's talking about, explaining the marketing plan with the different levels of, retail sales profit and sales commission and the override on your team and a business expense allowance and full benefits package and all these things that, if we all just take a little bit of time and fully understand, because we all do that when we get in, right? Whether you're, again, in here for weeks or in here for months or whatever, we get in and we try to get as much knowledge around the product as we can. And we do need to spend that time with the business as well. So, and I speak in hindsight because I didn't. And so, obviously in training new people, that's the best advice, is take that time like you did with the product and apply it to the business. Get on YouTube and start watching videos. How to explain things to people, and keep watching them if something makes sense. Whether it's, are you familiar with like the napkin presentation? Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So that's a different way of showing how kind of our industry works, and how Juice Plus is different from a exchange dollars for hours for dollars type of model. But there's all different ways. The Jennifer Myers does that. I think it's on the T30 website. And
you can just Google it as well. I mean, you can just Google Juice Plus napkin presentation, and it's really easy. And it's an easy way of explaining the business and how to multiply the business as well. But another thing that I think is just so easy, and it's funny because it took some other rep posting this on their Facebook page to just put it simple. Here are some things we know about the business for sure without even studying it, right? And you can classify it in those highly qualified questions that you're going to ask people, right? So when we're talking about the product, we ask about health and we ask about what are their issues in regards to that. In the business, what is it that people want? So Rick, I'm going to engage you in conversation, right? Rick, do you want to be your own boss?
Absolutely.
Do you want to earn what you're worth?
Yes.
Do you want to work when you feel like it instead of having to get up at 5 in the morning, Jess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to work with your best friends?
Absolutely.
Do you want a full-time benefits package and all of the perks of working for a huge corporation without having to work for a huge corporation?
Yes. Can I rewind you real quick?
Yeah.
Which I find is funny because it's through this business that I have met my best friends.
There you go. I would have to agree with you on that. So,
But anyway, sorry.
So
Yeah.
these are questions. You know that our business offers these. So these are all the highly qualified questions that you can ask, right? I haven't mentioned Juice Plus not once. Do you want to be able to work from your beach, Jess?
Or the boat.
Or the boat? Do you want to be able to travel? Do you want to be able to build an empire? Do you want to be able to retire when you're at whatever age you feel like it?
Well, and I think one of the things I just kind of had an aha in verbiage wise and sharing with a couple people is you talk about, do you want to be able to travel? How about do you want to be able to travel and still get paid during that time?
Yeah.
So, we went to Arizona and piggybacked a spring break family vacation and came back and my paycheck grew from the month prior. And so, but the verbiage I'm talking about is anyone who works for corporate America knows what PTO means. When you get into a job, you're like, how much PTO do I have? How much paid time off? Do I start with a week? You work your way up. At one point, Chip had like 6 weeks at this corporate job that he had when we first met. And, but that runs out. And what we do doesn't. PTO never runs out. And add a hashtag of never ending PTO.
So now that Chip's in the room, I just got this sent to us from Tommy's. So this is a mixed colored Malibu boat. If that's showing up at all.
Yeah.
It's yellow, black, and white, which is the mixed colors. So
That's personal training mix colors.
yeah, we might be pursuing that boat. I know it's not a Taiga, but we'll see what they have to say.
Yeah, do you want to have a wish list where that's feasible, right? I mean, these are all questions.
Well, and another question.
People.
Yes. Another kind of buzzword that's really powerful when talking about business, you guys, is do you want options? Do you want options for, think about what that is for people. We have someone on our team who, they have to save up for 3 to 4 years to take a family vacation. She's like, I would love not to be able to save up for 3 to 4 years to take a family vacation. Do you want the option to pay for private school for your kids? Do you want the option? I mean, what options do you want? And that's a powerful word. What options are you looking for? And people will resonate with that, we are about up actually. My last thing that I wanted to ask you guys, and we could kind of touch on this maybe next week, is I think it's really important to ask yourself that, as a leader, would you follow you? But what do you believe about yourself? And what do you say about yourself? What is that self-chatter? What is that self-talk? Maybe digging down into some, and we can address this maybe next week, Lindsay, but, and I have a little, some questions around that, but it's really important to know what you believe about yourself, because if it's not super positive, it needs to be changed, because nobody takes away what you say to them. They take away how you make them feel. And how you make them feel is largely results is how you feel about yourself, right? So when you're talking to people about Juice Plus, when you're inviting them into this business, how you feel about yourself plays a huge part in that. So I just encourage you guys to maybe explore that and maybe write some notes this week on give that some thought of those self-defining beliefs. So that's all I got for this call.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's all very beneficial to talk about regardless of what level in the business you're at, because we're all constantly still needing to build team and still needing to expand our networks and make that list of people grow. So the easiest way, I think, especially to utilize this weekend, is to ask these questions, whether it's the business or the product or whatever. Ask the questions, and if there's any curiosity behind any of it, invite them to these events this weekend. So or we are starting, and Jess, you're more than welcome to hop on board with this too. We're starting every Tuesday night prospecting call with different guests speaking and inviting our team members to speak and everything as well. So if they can't make it this weekend, then hop on the Tuesday night call, and we're joining arms with Michael Alley and his team to do that as well, because he has some impeccable verbiage. He just talks and you're like, I need to script that. So we're doing that every Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
Nice.
So the cool thing is these things are implemented so that when you invite on a new team member, you can say, hey, hop on our team training call Monday. Hey, hop on our prospecting call Tuesday. And these things are already here, so our new team members don't have to learn it all right off the bat. They can learn as they earn, which I think is another very important aspect of our business. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our sales coordinator and hire call, and feel free to stay on if you're wanting to learn a little bit more. But what we're going to focus on primarily on our sales coordinator call is you guys are now sales coordinators. How do we get to the next step? What do reports mean? We have all these useful tools in our virtual office, and just kind of going through some of the things, utilizing the resources at our fingertips and knowing that they're there. So I don't claim to be an expert on these reports, but they do prove to be very useful as you are shooting for these higher positions. And I probably pulled a report every single day when I was shooting for NMD. And I didn't even know what reports were probably when I was a sales coordinator. So teaching you guys how to read these and to pull them right now, and why we need to pull them daily when we're shooting for a huge promotion, regardless if it's SSCQ or NMD, is all of these things update on a daily basis. So the computer tends to be a bit slower than what our team moves at. I don't know if, Jess, you have experienced that at all. But, for instance, we promoted a sales coordinator over a month ago, and she's still not showing up in the computer as a sales coordinator. So here I am as a sales coordinator telling her to hit POB, and that's the next way she can earn money, right? And it's not even showing up in the system yet. So it's hard to explain to new people that our system is a bit ancient. We need Chip on that one, please. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. What's that?
I made comments.
What was that, Jess?
Oh, I said, trust me, I've made comments to the IT guy. Right over
I'm
here.
sure. Chip, please help. All right. All right, so this is, I hope everybody knows what this particular document is. This is called your customer downline and PV report. So is everyone familiar of how to pull this and get this in their hot little hands? Or shall we start there? And this should be an interactive call. So take yourself off mute, ask questions, because I can't see everyone when I'm sharing my screen. So
I don't know how to get that. I've not seen that.
okay. So we're going to start there. So we're going to log into my virtual office.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay, and we're going to go to My Team Data. And we're going to go to Former Reports here on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And there are several reports that can prove to be useful. We're just going to focus on, well, we'll go over genealogy as well as this PV report. But option number 3, downline and current PV report. So when you're shooting for a certain volume requirement, okay, so as your VF shooting for sales coordinator, you need 8,000 volume that is cumulative. So cumulative means that if somebody is paying on installments, let's say it's a protein order. Let's just say a protein order is 100 points to make it easy, okay? When they're paying on installments, it means you're getting 25 points per month toward your overall volume. If someone does a paid in full, and let's say the protein is 100 points, you would get 100 points that month. Is everybody cleared on pay in full and installment orders? So when we're going over cumulative PVC, actual PVC, that's what that means. If it's on an installment, you get a quarter of what it is. So what you would do is click yes here, that you want them to email you this report, and you would go down to the bottom and hit submit here. And this would go to your email. So what I did is go ahead and send it to my email and open it up in the email. So now, hopefully I can find it again. Where is it? This?
No, that's not it.
No, I've lost it.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's on top with one of your tabs.
Okay, one sec. I gotta.
We have to
Is it
find
this? Oh, here we go. Okay, there it is. This one. Okay, got it. All right, so on this, the cool thing is, and I hope my team doesn't mind me using them as an example, but the cool thing is a lot of these things show up in color. So the first thing we want to look at here is anybody showing up in color is due for a promotion. So that's pretty cool. I got a lot of color on mine, right? So it notifies us like, hey, you know, Elizabeth is due for a promotion. And up at the top, the pink means she's potentially due for a sales coordinator promotion. Okay, so I would maybe get with Beth and see if, or Elizabeth, and see if she's interested in learning that she could be making 22% commission instead of 14. Right here, it's showing that she's a VF, right? So here's their status right here. And these are all of my distributors here, okay? So this is just solely showing distributors, not any customers, okay? So, Kaylee, may I use you as an example? Since we're shooting for a promotion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And this is an old report because I can't get any new ones sent to me right now for whatever reason. But here it looks like Lindsay James and Lucy on Kaylee's team are due for a promotion. And the funny thing is we already promoted Lindsay James last month. So it's hysterical that it's not keeping up. But a couple different things. Kaylee is shooting for senior sales coordinator. So this number at the bottom, see how it says 4313? We need this to say 8,000 at the end of the month for her to be able to reach her goal of the volume that is needed for senior sales coordinator. The other thing we need to look at is, does she have a working line? So when we're talking about working lines, we're actually going to look at this column here. So there's a date here, and then you're going to go to the left 2, okay? And during this column, I believe at the top it says it's column 6, yep. So 6 down here. We're looking at column 6. And what we need to make sure of is underneath whoever is going to promote out as Kaylee's sales coordinator, that they have 6 distributors underneath them, and that they all are pulling at least a 90, number 90 in this column 6 here, okay? And please don't get overwhelmed by this if you're not quite a sales coordinator, because like I said, this is the sales coordinator call. So if you're VF, you really don't need to know this yet, but it could be potentially helpful in the future. So let's say we were going to promote out, let's say Rick. Okay, let's say Rick is going to be Kaylee's sales coordinator. What we're looking at is Rick, does he have 6 distributors? So he has Jesus underneath him currently because he would be number 3. So he doesn't have enough distributors. So Kaylee wouldn't look at Rick right at this particular moment to be his sales coordinator. But so anyway, that's confusing. But let's just say we're looking for 6 people in this column to have 90 PVC. And I can get a clearer example of that. So for instance, and this report is hard to read as if we were Kaylee, because this is my report. So for NMD, I needed Kaylee. These are all Kaylee's distributors. This is a better example, right? Does Kaylee have 6 distributors, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So for my NMD promotion, I needed 5 sales coordinators. Kaylee's a sales coordinator, right? And does she have 6 distributors here that are pulling 90 PVC or more? So Kaylee is pulling 90 PVC. That's 1, right? She has 388. Let's see. Kesha is not. She only has 50. I can't count her. Lucy has 404. That's 2. Lindsay has 400. That's 3. Maha only has 60. Can't count her. Kristen doesn't have anything. Shannon, I can count her because she has 400 here, right? And Carol is 5 with 113. Robin is 6 with 366, right? So I know Kaylee's line is totally okay as my sales coordinator for any of these promotions. If I were going for SSC, Kaylee is my solid sales coordinator line. That is a working line. Does that make sense? That's a way better example.
Yeah.
And it would be easier if we were looking at Kaylee's report. It would have, you know, instead of Kaylee and Hannah being my sales coordinators, it would have her team members broken down this way. So way easier on your own report. So this column 6 is really important solely for seeing if you're having a working line. The other thing we're looking at here is the sales coordinator qualified? So Kaylee has 1,000 points right here. That means she's qualified. So that's awesome. That's another thing we need to look at for senior sales coordinator. You want to look for a 3 club. So do I have 3 distributors that are pulling this 1,000 PVC or not on this particular report? And there's an easier report to pull for that. But on this particular sheet, this is what you're looking at right here, 1,000. She's already qualified. So I'm good in that department as well, right? So that's one of the main things I wanted to point out. The other one, we'll look at customer genealogy. Do you have anything to add before we swap off this report? At all?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, do you have anything to add before we go to customer genealogy instead of this?
I don't think so. I think, I don't know if everybody on this call knows what the bank is on these reports, that when you're, so just a quick clarification, that I'm doing like my mouse, people can see it.
The 1,000 is the bank and the 500 is her qualifying, right? I think I was getting that wrong too.
Yes. Yes, that's okay. But I just, it's a good time to point out that our company, when you go over 1,000 in your PB qualification, and your PB is your own personal orders, your dealers and your DDs, that it goes into a bank and you bank up to 1,000 more PVC. So when you get low, maybe 1 month, you can draw from that. Another way our company is amazing and helps us be successful. And then the POB qualification, that bank goes up to 3,000. POB includes everything that PB includes plus your VFs. And then that 3,000 bank is a nice solid bank. And that, you know, in case life happens, crisis happens, you lose someone major, you got a little bit of cushion while you rebuild your solid POB. So that's moving on.
Perfect. And it does say, like, at the top of the page, this is why this is easier if you print this out as well. So it has these labeled at the top of the columns here. It's a little bit easier when you're looking at the full sheet. They are labeled, right? Column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is column 6 we were talking about on one of my other distributors, Amanda Gamboa, right? And then it shows if she has excess POB, which she doesn't, right? And then it says required to qualify. She has quite a ways to go and so forth. So it's easier when you print these things out, especially if you're going for promotion. I totally recommend that you print this. All right, and one other thing we'll go over is some things to look at on our customer genealogy report as well. So let me just find that real quick.
Lindsay, you got to clear out your email, girl.
No, I know. You already know this about me. 1,016. Anyway. I have to search for a report because for whatever reason, maybe that's why I'm not getting my reports. Here's a customer genealogy.
Unfortunately, my inbox looks the same.
Yeah, email is not maybe personal trainer's friend, for sure. So I'm going to go to this report first. Second, I will show you how to pull it, but very similar to pulling the report that we just pulled. So on this particular report, it actually gives you a key at the top of what these products are, okay, on this very first page. So again, when you're shooting for promotions, I always recommend that you print this out, and I know it's a lot of paper. But here are my own customers here. And one of the major things I want you guys to do, when you're a sales coordinator, you become a leader on this team, and it becomes your job to teach your team some of these simple things. So we become teachers as we progress through this business. But again, we're looking at the third column into the left here. And what we're doing is we're going through to see if any of these have a D by them, okay? So any of these Ds, it means their credit card was declined. So I was going through this morning, actually. And so Aubrey Chan here is somebody that I would want to contact and ask. You know, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, it's kind of awkward to ask somebody why their credit card was declined or whatever. And chances are it's just an expired date on the card. So I always say, hey, your payment didn't go through this month. Is there by chance an updated credit card that we can get in the system for that payment to go through? So that's some good verbiage for you. And sometimes I'll just, most of the time, shoot over through a text.
And one of the things
Hey,
What's
Lindsay.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things I use is that we're constantly being given new cards with the chip, and you know there's a security breach. So I just always say, hey, people are getting new cards constantly. I assume you have a new card. Let's get that new number in the system.
Ken, did you have a question?
Yeah, I've been finding out a lot of them are due to the chip, and all you have to do is just update the expiration date.
Yeah.
The card numbers
So
are the
it's not
same.
as awkward of a conversation as you might think.
Mhm.
So something you need to go through every single month, especially if you're shooting for some of these volume requirements, right? NMD was 33,000. Every single point counts. Every single point counts when you're going for 8,000 or 22,000 for Q and so forth, right? Every single point counts, and these declines add up to quite a bit. If you have a customer list that's of any length. So that's one of the things we're looking at. Also, this is something that I was showing Kaylee as well. As we're drawing towards the end of the month here, it's kind of important when you're running a tracker sheet to see if your team members are qualified or not, what orders are going through the system that aren't already counting right this second. And that's what this can show you as well. So we're going to use my customers as an example here. So for instance, anything that's on a 4-month installment, so this column here, next ship date, a 4 means they're paid in full. So I'm not going to necessarily get any credit this month for anything that has a 4 by it, unless it has the 4th month, right? Since we're in the 4th month. And what is the date today? The 9th, the 18th. So if it says 418, or sorry, 418 or a higher number, then I will get paid on that. So for instance, when we're scrolling down here, this one, it has a paid in full right here. And oh, let's say it said 418, guys. Let's just pretend here, right? So let's say this said 418 right here. I would get credit for whatever L3 is. And I have looked at this long enough. I know L3 is protein. So that would mean I would get 70 points on this going towards my qualification or towards my next goal. Okay. If it says something previously to the 18th, because today's the 18th, then I have already gotten credit for that. Okay. So that's how we work the number 4s here. But on the installments, so when it says 4I, that means it's on installment. And let's see, I'm going to actually use this one as an example since I know what V1 is. Some of these I have memorized, some I don't. But what this means is 5/30. So that's not this month, but this person, since they're on installments, it would be due to ship out next month, 5/30. So I am still getting my last installment payment this month on it. So that means V1 is Vineyard. Okay, so that's 70 points. So I take 70 and divide it by 4. So that ends up being 17 something. That is what would go towards my cumulative volume for either qualifying my business or going towards my cumulative PVC for that, like 8,000 or 22 or 33 for that volume requirement for these promotions. Is this making sense? Give me a thumbs up if it is. Okay, and I can't see everybody, so if it is not making sense, please unmute yourself. Ask questions. Like I said, I don't do this to hear myself talk. So if you were to go through here, I would write down, that I get credit for these 2 orders at the top right here. And I have a little cheat sheet that I've made in my Excel that has all of this in there, divided by 2, because it could be a 2I, which would mean it would be divided in, the 2 monthly installments, or the 4I. And I can show you my cheat sheet, and I'm happy to share it with you. But you would just go down here, and these count for your entire team. So when I was going through NMD, you guys should have seen. So this, I have 27 pages of customer genealogy. I printed off all 27 pages the last days going for NMD. My printer was tired. But I would go through and highlight and make sure all these orders were going through, because every stinking point counts when you're going for these promotions. And it kind of lets you know that, like, hey, Dana Hansen right here, he's canceled, right? What the heck? Maybe I need to call him and touch base and invite him to an event and get him re-engaged, right? His daughter started selling Shakeology is what happened. Bummer, huh?
Hey, can I add to that?
Please.
Lindsay? The cancellations. So if you're going through the order or the report, and if certain people have canceled, they've canceled through you. But if you come across cancellations that you're like, what? Did they call corporate and cancel and not me? If you didn't look at your report the month prior, if they go into 2 declined credit cards, now they have a cancellation status. So if I am not sure why there's a cancellation status, I will call the company first before I get in contact with that person, and I'll say, because they have notes of everything, and I'll say, why is this in cancellation? And they'll tell me they called on this date to cancel, or it's just a credit card or whatever. And then I get a hold of that person, regarding whatever it was, and say, hey, I see your credit card, whatever. If there was a cancellation that they did through the company and not me, I will get a hold of them as well and do kind of an exit interview in hopes of retaining that customer, or putting them on a drip list, or if it's financial, sharing the business. Like, you want to be in communication with those people who are canceling. So just know that, it could be credit card too. And I just treat, again, taking away that discomfort, it's not uncomfortable because, oh my gosh, we have to be on top of these reports because the credit cards are constantly getting changed out. So declines and cancellations just with credit cards alone are huge.
Well, and there's no way that we can remember all these customers off the top of our head. Like, there's no way, right? So to call in, and thank you. To call in and touch base with these people, whether it's for a decline, a canceled, or they're active, it might just remind you like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to James White in forever. I forget who he even is. Like, maybe I need to do that, right? But I probably should because he's due to ship on the 18th of next month and I'll have a brand new baby. So maybe touching base this month would be great so I don't forget to, check in with him and let him know that's going to ship next month on the 18th and I'll maybe be preoccupied, right? So any other questions looking at this particular report before we move on? All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to pull this report. Okay, so on your home page here, you're going to go to My Team Data. You're going to go to Former Reports. And what you're going to do is go to number 5, Preferred Customer Genealogy Report. Click the yes, and go ahead and hit Submit at the bottom here. Again, that will email it to you, and you can pull it up, print it off. But to get familiar with these reports, it definitely is something that, as a leader in this business, as a sales coordinator position, moving forward, you have to become an expert at reading these reports. So I really wanted to go over this the past couple weeks, and it is kind of grueling and like we have to concentrate on it. It's not something we talk about very often because it is kind of boring and dull, but definitely something, particularly as you are trying to progress these reports. There's no way I would have hit NMD if I didn't know how to read that report. No way, because I even went through the report, and maybe I can give an example. But for instance, if I am shooting for a promotion, so Kaylee's going for sales or senior sales coordinator, maybe there's an order that's due to ship at the 1st or 2nd of next month that I could use that volume this month because I am shooting for 8,000 PVC, right? So maybe I touch base with that customer and say, hey, your order's due to ship on the 1st or 2nd, but I'm shooting for a huge promotion. Do you mind if I ship it 2 days early? And I did that with a ton of my customers, and I can't tell you how many of my customers said, yeah, sure, go ahead and ship it a month early. No worries. I'll stock up for you. You're going for a huge promotion. Why not? But things you don't think of, all of these small points add up to a lot. So this team came close to like 37,000 because I really wanted to overshoot it. You don't want to like miss NMD by like 2 points, right? Or any promotion for that matter. So that's another thing to kind of think about. If you're shooting for a promotion, you can look at those orders that are due to ship earlier that aren't maybe on your virtual office yet. Due to ship later, and ask those customers, hey, do you mind? Like, you've been a customer for 7 years. Do you mind paying in full for your order this month so I get more points? I explained that to my customers, and they're like, oh, cool. Yeah, why not? I love to help you out. Right? So little tips and tricks here as you're shooting for promotions that will really help you solidify them. So when that is all, do we have any questions on some of that boring stuff?
So Lindsay, on that report, that genealogy report, when I run it, I like to run it with my distributors because I go through their customers as well to see if there's any Ds and then alert them.
Absolutely. That's a good point because I just did that with you this morning, didn't I?
Like,
oh, by the way, Ken.
I was already on it.
I know you were. Yeah. And that means that I'm doing a good job of teaching you that, right? So, so that's what you want your distributors to say. Oh yeah, I already saw there was a decline. I have the credit card in hand and no worries. But sometimes it's nice to have somebody double checking for you too,
Absolutely.
Especially if, if I'm your distributor and I had decline and I didn't know about it, but you're shooting for a promotion, that decline could prevent you from your promotion, and I'm your team member and I didn't even have a clue about it. So
Yep.
Very good point. So any questions on any of that? Jess, you want to add to any of that? Because we are out of time.
Yeah, no, I think it was good. I just hope that, you know, we can get this attendance up. We could share this. So I'm glad you were able to record it, and hopefully we can get this out and you know, people understand it.
Absolutely. And if not, even if you are watching the recording, come back to us with questions. And maybe you want to watch it again so that you can take some notes on it or whatever. But it's definitely something we'll touch base on again. You don't have to grasp it all in one seating, but definitely good to get familiar with.